An ancient trade route shut down for 6 years and is finally reopening. From August 1, Indian and Chinese traders will once again cross the Himalayas through Nathula Pass in Sikkim, a corridor that once carried goods along the old Silk Route. It sounds like a genuine thaw between two countries that fought a war in a border standoff, but strip away the headline and the picture gets messier. Just weeks ago, Chinese authorities turned back 28 Indian traders at a different pass, leaving thousands of quintals of jaggery rotting in the rain. So, is this trade revival a real diplomatic breakthrough? And what does the fine print really reveal about how much has actually changed between Delhi and Beijing? Border trade route through Nathula Pass in East Sikkim is set to resume on August 1, ending a suspension of more than 6 years, that's since COVID. Nathula now sits at 4,302 meters, one of the highest motorable passes in the world, and for centuries formed part of the ancient Silk Route connecting India and Tibet. Trade through this specific pass has a very complicated history of its own. It shut down after the 1962 war, reopened in 2006 following a bilateral agreement, then shut down again in 2020 when COVID hit. Nearly 600 registered Indian traders depend on this very route for their livelihood, and its reopening is expected to give Sikkim's border economy a real, tangible boost. And all this is not happening in a vacuum. It follows the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra through Nathula earlier this year. That was after a 5-year hiatus and comes as India builds a new highway connecting Rongli and Menla to improve access to the pass and the broader Indo-Tibet border region. And none of this happened by accident. The decision traces back to the 24th round of India-China Special Representatives dialogue. That was in August last year between Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. That meeting produced an agreement to reopen not just Nathula, but 3 designated border trade points altogether: Nathula in Sikkim, Lipulekh in Uttarakhand, and Shipkila in Himachal Pradesh. Now, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Wang Yi personally signed off on this in their joint statement, which explicitly commits, in its own words, to resuming border trade through all 3 passes. Both countries also restored direct flight connectivity as part of the same package. For India, now this fits into a broader post-Galwan pattern: cautious, incremental normalisation, restoring people to people and commercial links first, while the harder military disengagement questions along the line of actual control, they continue separately on a separate axis. And here's where the celebratory framing runs into reality. While Nathula prepares to reopen smoothly, the Lipulekh Pass in Uttarakhand tells a very different story about how this revival is actually playing out on the ground. In July, 28 Indian traders travelled to Gunji, which is the last Indian village before the Tibet border. They were fully expecting to cross in with their goods. Chinese authorities obviously were not on the same page, and they did not grant the final clearance. The traders were forced to return. They left nearly 3,000 quintals of jaggery and sugar candy stranded at that place, exposed to rain. Making matters more frustrating was the fact that Nepalese traders were still being allowed to reportedly cross into the same Chinese market at Taklakot while Indian traders sat waiting. Now, China has since confirmed that Indian traders can start entering at that point also from August 1, the same date that Nathula is reopening. But by the traders' own account, that timing has cost them the most valuable trading month of the year. Tibetan buyer interest typically drops off sharply after August, and the season closes entirely by October. So, for India, the reopening carries economic as well as strategic significance. Border trade supports livelihoods in remote Himalayan districts where economic opportunities remain limited. Local traders deal in traditional products such as wool, pashmina, yak tails, salt, carpets, herbal medicines, as well as handicrafts under an agreed list of permissible goods. The reopening could revive businesses that have remained dormant for 6 years when this route was shut down. Now, communities in Sikkim, Uttarakhand, and Himachal Pradesh have long depended on these seasonal trading windows. The resumption also restores a very important cultural connection that, frankly, even predates modern nation states. But India is approaching this reopening with caution. Officials are not presenting it as a return to business as usual. Instead, it is being treated as one confidence building measure among many. Because the reopening of Nathula is symbolically powerful. It reconnects a route that once linked civilizations, merchants, and cultures across the Himalayas. But symbols alone cannot erase recent history. Galwan still casts a very long shadow. Both countries continue investing heavily in border infrastructure. Military preparedness remains at an all-time high. So the lesson for India is clear, and which India has imbibed. Economic engagement should never come at the cost of strategic preparedness. Trade can reduce friction, it can replace deterrence. As caravans prepare to move once again through the ancient Silk Route, India is signaling something important to the world. Delhi is willing to engage, willing to cooperate, but it will do so on its own terms. This is Times Access, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe because the next big global shift will have India at its center.
If they had a nuclear weapon,
The old rules are breaking. Alliances are shifting.
Apologize again to the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Wars are redrawing maps. Oil routes can shake economies overnight. One election in America can impact markets in Mumbai.
no tax on tips.
One move by China can alter the balance in Asia. One conflict in West Asia can hit every Indian household. This is no longer a distant story. This is our story. Your story. Because for the first time in decades, India is not watching from the sidelines. India is rising. India is negotiating. India is balancing rivals. India is building military strength. India is shaping trade routes. India is becoming central to the new global order. And yet, most global news is still told through someone else's lens. Washington's lens, Beijing's lens, London's lens. But where is India's lens? Where is the platform that explains the world from our perspective? Welcome to India's Axis, a new destination for geopolitics, strategy and power seen through India's eyes, from Neighborhood Watch to the biggest global stories that matter to you. Why tensions in the Taiwan Strait matter to India, how one move by China can affect India's security, what turmoil in Pakistan means for regional stability, how Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan shape India's neighborhood, why oil choke points can hit your wallet, how wars abroad can reshape India's security. This is not noise. This is not shouting. This is not recycled headlines. This is sharp, intelligent storytelling. Daily explainers, war room analysis, strategic conversations. Because news is everywhere, but perspective is rare, and in the age of confusion, clarity is power. Axis is for the audience that wants more than headlines. The axis of global power is shifting. India is at the center of that shift. It's time the world was explained accordingly, to understand the world through India's strategic lens. Subscribe now.